I died and saw the fourth dimension, and now I feel alone in our universe. This is a throwaway because I'm aware of how insane I sound. So I've died twice, and I'll tell you what I've experienced. It's very hard to describe in three-dimensional language, so bear with me and understand that it'll sound crazy, but it's true. At least it's my version of the reality that I saw after death each time. I could still conceptualize and somewhat measure time, but I wasn't fully separated from our dimension yet, so that may be why. Time moves a lot. This isn't the right word, but it's the only one that I have. Time moves faster in the fourth dimension. What could be seconds on Earth is hundreds of thousands of years there, which also isn't right, but there are no other words for it. I traveled through this sort of tunnel, try to think of it as like a wormhole, but it wasn't actually a tunnel, but like some sort of vessel, I think, or like some way to grant passage to the next dimension. I traveled for a few hundred years. I saw my life, of course, and then I learned the language of the universe. I saw runes and sacred geometry symbols on the walls of the tunnel, and over those few hundred years, it felt like my capacity to understand the universe had greatly expanded. I was completely at peace when I reached the door. Now, what I originally saw freaked me out because I couldn't understand it, so it changed to a big wooden door with a handle very quickly so that I could grasp what I was seeing. I don't know if I willed it to change or something else did, maybe the dimension itself adjusted to my level of understanding. I don't know, but it was a door, and that I could grasp. I could still hear my baby's cries for me throughout this as if I was still partially on Earth. For context, I died on the table during 2 emergency C-sections twice, and they were able to bring me back each time. I am no longer allowed to have kids. Those cries are what kept me from opening the door. I felt something gently inviting me, but it wasn't urgent and it didn't force me. I somehow knew that I had all the time in my universe to make a decision if I needed it. I floated there for hundreds of thousands of years, considering my options. It felt like a moment, but there wasn't any urgency, and I somehow knew that it would have been longer. Considering my options, that I opened the door but didn't go through it. Something or someone in and around me. The more accurate description is that whatever it was, all of us, or more yet, none of us at the same time. And it wasn't necessarily a being, and it wasn't alive, but it wasn't unalive or dead either. It just didn't exist in the same way that we exist. I didn't know mortality, and simply always has been and always will be. It isn't a right descriptor either, but it isn't a they either, so I don't know how to describe it in three-dimensional terms, sadly. It told me not to go through the door unless I was absolutely sure that I did not want to return to where I came from in the same way that I was existing before. So I sat there and looked through the door to the side, and what I saw, holy cow, what I saw is indescribable. I call it a tree, but it wasn't that, but it reminds me kind of the tree of life. Our trees are an extension of whatever the heck this is, but it was beautiful. It literally gives me a headache to picture it in my mind, but I can remember it as if I'm still there. I wanted to go through that door so freaking badly, but all I could think about was leaving my baby behind. So I just sat there for hundreds and thousands of years. I learned everything I could just from peering through that door. And there's so much that we don't know and couldn't even begin to imagine or conceptualize. Finally, I decided that I wasn't ready. And whomever that was that told me to come back when I was ready, but they/it didn't really speak or communicate. I just knew what they/it wanted to say to me, if that makes sense. Suddenly, I was back in my body and everything hurt. And it was like I was born again. It really threw me off to be thrust back into a mortal existence in a body full of flesh. I feel like one of those bag tents where you unpack them but can't get them back in the bag just right, so you just shove it all in a bag and hope that it stays and doesn't break. For a few weeks after each time, I kept having out-of-body experiences and was just stuck between the 2 dimensions, I think. My dreams were of that dimension, and I met the pale-faced man both when I was dead. He was in another form, and I still chat with him in my dreams sometimes. He's always going on about wanting me to take some sort of key, and I have the sinking feeling that there's no turning back once I take it. And he's tried to explain what it's for, but I can't grasp it unless I actually take the key, so I don't know if I ever will take it in this lifetime. But those weren't the only weird things that happened after I came back. I felt these vibrations off of everything and everyone. Everything and everyone was suddenly alive in a way that I didn't know they could be. I could feel what plants and animals were feeling and needing. I could feel the intense emotions of others. I could feel when someone else had been to or was close to going to the fourth dimension. This went on for months, the first time, and I honestly feel it even more strongly this time. I don't know if it'll fade like it did the last time, but I kind of don't want it to. Do you know what it's like to put your bare feet in the dirt and feel the earth breathing beneath you? Do you know what it's like to truly speak to a tree? Would you ever give that up after gaining that ability? I honestly think that we all have the ability but actively choose not to unlock it. I think the concept of it scares us without even realizing it. Most of all, I feel that dimension calling me every day, and I want to go back to it so bad and learn everything. I want to hold on to what I call the knowing. I want to take the key. I want to go through that door. Also, I don't think that the key is to that door because I would have understood that. It's something else. But anyways, I want it all, but I also don't want to give up my mortality yet. It's a special gift that a select few get to experience. I want to see my children grow up. I want to feel what it's like to be old. I want to see where the world will go from this lens, if that makes sense. It's such a complex feeling to describe. It's as if I have one foot in each place. Please tell me that someone else has experienced this. I feel so alone in this. No one can understand, and I sound crazy every time I try to explain what I've experienced. I just need to know that I'm not alone in this. I need to know that other people have experienced this too, and I want to try to make sense of it, or at least relate on a human level. So this was a story from Reddit. This was an insane story. I know there's some people that have experienced this, and I feel like I read up a couple of NDEs that are kind of like this, where you still have the ability to perceive that fourth dimension, whether you believe it or not. The truth is that there is something out there after your death. I mean, look at all these NDE reports. You are a complete fool if you don't think otherwise. And I think that, I don't know, it's hard to say because you're going to be like, okay, this is crazy, all right, but then you get to that point where you experience an NDE, or get of old age hopefully, and then pass on, and then you're like, holy crap, she was right. Or wherever this person on Reddit, they were correct. And another thing I'll say is take this one with a grain of salt. You never know which one is true or which one not, but I have faith that there's a lot of good people on this NDE forum. I've been looking through it, and there's some really good actors on here, so I wouldn't count this person out exactly, but there's a lot of other reports that sound exactly like this one, and you start reading onto it more and more, and crazy is normal, and us humans cannot perceive it. I mean, like a decade, not even a decade, just a couple of years, would have never imagined how big AI is now. Even a couple decades ago, we wouldn't even conceive the idea of using phones as much as we do right now. I mean, it's like we hit these crazy benchmarks, and people still cannot even comprehend the next thing. You tell them, hey, this is a legit thing that I am predicting that's going to happen. Y'all are gonna call me crazy, I don't care, but we're gonna be implanting Neuralink into our brains. Sounds crazy, but decade goes by, 2 decades, 3 decades, it's gonna be normal. I can confirm that in the near future we're all going to be getting implants inside our brains. Okay, you can clip this, all right? Clip it, chat, all right? Come back to this video a couple of decades and we're gonna be seeing who's laughing, to be quite frank with you. I don't know, but that's what I think is going to be happening. People are like, you're crazy, it's going to happen. Like like you look at Neuralink and you look at the tests and you see people using it successfully. Oh my, it's crazy. But let me know what you think about this Reddit story. The full story is going to be down below. Make sure you check it out. make sure you check out the Reddit forum. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, share this video with someone that really needs it. And I hope that this video can help enlighten you in a sort of way to help you understand that there's something more out there after your passing. Okay, our stories are just getting started. Okay, this is honestly, if by the stories that I've read, this is just like 1% of it. And that's going from birth all the way to death. It's crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Subscribe, like, I'll see ya.